Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you're joining me for a second time. I appreciate you being here, especially after my very long spat of absence. I did realise that this is probably the second or third time I've done this since reopening my channel, and I finally twigged what it is, and it is burnout. It's not great, and that is why I've taken such a gap this time. Every time I do it, I don't want to rush myself back into it because I don't want to end up hating true crime, which is how I got last time. And I just had a lot going on in my personal life as well, and I just didn't, emotionally, I couldn't then put myself through reading, writing about and watch it. I couldn't even watch true crime, which, if you know me, that's so unlike me, but I feel so much better. It's given me time to plan my channel a lot more. I've got 9 scripts sat next to me kind of waiting to go. I've got a few more that are in my development. I've got a big old notebook with plans, structures and everything else, and just loads of tools that are going to help me. So happy days. You should be stuck with me for a lot longer now. I've also found a new thing for editing. So I don't know if it's going to make my life easier. I'm hoping it is, because at the minute, writing scripts, editing numerous times on my own is a lot, and I think that is also contributes to my burnout. So I found an app that is supposed to help me with editing, because I don't want to give like AI or something else like full control of what my videos look like, because I want it to be authentically me. So I'm going to try it, and you're going to have to let me know if it's better or worse. Hoping it'll be better. I hope it not like cut down my editing time in half, because normally it takes me 4 hours, maybe 4 hours-ish, because obviously I know I'm rambling and you probably don't care, so I've started putting timestamps in now, so you can just skip it if you don't want to listen to me. So I have to go through it once, cut everything out, then I have to go through it again, get all the funny bits and the stupid bits into a separate video. Then I have to go through it, make sure all the pictures are added in, and then just tweaking as I go along. And then I'll rewatch it one final time when it's all kind of mashed together, when I put the intro, the outro, the outtakes all in, and make sure everything aligns. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And am I fuck paying someone for it? So I'd rather pay an app, because people are expensive. I've had loads of people offer to like help me and run my accounts for me, but I don't make any money from this, so why the hell would I? But as I say, I hope you're all fabulous. I'm feeling so much better, and I'm feeling like I can actually prepare myself to come back and really put my effort into this now. So I'm very happy about that, and you will be seeing a lot more of me. Lucky you. So today I'm going to be covering a case that I did initially cover when I first had my channel, so you won't have seen it. It's the case of Joan Dawley. The script is from when I first had my channel, so who knows how this is going to go, but hopefully quite well. I only have one trigger warning for today, and that is the mention of rape. It doesn't actually happen, but it is suggested and it will be talked about. So if that's something you don't want to deal with, that's absolutely fine. I'll see you for another video. Content warning, as always, strong language. So today's case takes place in 1991, but we're going to go back and I'll tell you birth dates and stuff as well. Joan Helen Barbara Dawley was born on the 10th of October 1935 in Massachusetts, and I actually spelled Massachusetts right this time. She met her husband Dennis at school. They were high school sweethearts, and they got married in 1956. Dennis went on to have a career in the Air Force. He was a missile technician, which sounds complicated, and because of this he had to travel quite a lot for work. And originally Joan absolutely loved this. She loved being a travelling wife. She got to go to all these places she never would have gone to and live there for quite a bit of time and just keep upping and moving. She loved it. The pair go on to have 2 daughters together, the first being Debbie and the second daughter is Laurie. And in 1961 the family moved back to the United States, because I think they were living in London because of the travelling, so they're back in the US. In 1968, the couple were transferred to California and the girls were 7 and 12 years old at the time. Dennis obviously keeps having to move around for work, but Joan has kind of had enough of this now. I think the novelty's worn off, especially now they have children. And she says that she just wants to settle down now. Like, she's not overly bothered where he can choose where they settle down, but she just wants a bit of stability, and for not just for them, but for their daughters as well. In 1974, the family were stationed in Omaha, Nebraska, and Debbie is just about to graduate college. So after Debbie finishes college, Dennis decides to retire and the family decide to move back to California, as that's where they were happiest whilst they were moving around. They preferred it there. So in 1991, Dennis has been retired about 15 years and he works at a local golf course. I think he works in like the little pro shop, just as like an extra like supplement to his retirement fund that you get. Joan worked as a supervisor at the Hallmark store and Dennis would often go into work, so a lot of her co-workers knew Dennis and he'd often come in like dressed as like Santa or the Easter Bunny and help out in the store. So they all knew him, all really liked him, and everyone said they seemed like the perfect family. Although Dennis was working at the golf shop, his real passion was fishing and his absolute dream was to one day own his own fishing boat. He'd often go on quite long fishing trips, but Joan didn't accompany him on these. She didn't like water at all, so it was her idea of hell. So he went on his own. So I don't have the date of this, but Joan's mother unfortunately passes away. However, she does leave Joan with around $70,000 and 2 houses that she is set to inherit. So Dennis asks for the deeds to one of the houses to be signed over in his name so he can sell it and get his fishing boat, which I think is a bit of a weird setup anyway, because surely you could just ask nicely, or if she knows that's your dream, she'll probably just get it for you anyway. You don't really need the deed to the house. It's just a bit weird. But Joan says no. She says she's keeping it as a nest egg in case something happens, is what she said. Joan actually confides in one of her friends at work that she thinks Dennis is having an affair. Whilst he's going on these fishing trips, he seems to be spending a lot more money than what you think someone would spend on a fishing trip. I don't know how expensive fishing trips are because I've never been on one, but I wouldn't have thought it's crazy expensive. Like, you just need like a packed lunch for the day. Surely, and bait, is that it? I don't know. He was spending more than what would be a normal amount to spend on fishing trips. So Joan, instead of confronting him, she starts getting her ducks in a row and she starts preparing herself for divorce. And Dennis somehow catches wind of this and he's panicking, thinking, shit, she will get half of my pension if we divorce, and that's not going to happen. So April 16th, 1991, Dennis and Joan go bowling. They go on a little date night bowling. And the next morning on April 17th, Joan doesn't show up to work. Now, this is very out of character for her, and the friend who I mentioned earlier that she confided in about Dennis maybe having an affair, she knew this wasn't right. So she goes over to the house, knocks on the door, no one's answering, so she just lets herself in. The door's open, she lets herself in. The whole house is in an absolute shambles. It looks like everything's been like turned completely upside down. And when she goes into the master bedroom, she finds Joan dead in the bed and she has been bludgeoned to death. When Joan was examined, she had lots of broken fingers and a hell of a lot of self-defense wounds. So she really, really tried to stop this from happening. She really tried to defend herself from the attack that she was facing. And she did what I'm sure, unfortunately, is ingrained in most women to do if they get attacked. She scratched the shit out of them so the DNA went under her fingers. How sad is it that we all know that, like, if you get attacked you need to scratch them? Like, it's horrible, isn't it? So the police search the house and they find a step ladder next to one of the windows in the back of the house, and they theorise initially that this is just a robbery gone very, very wrong. Dennis had been at work about 4 hours before the discovery of Joan's body. And although, like I said, police initially ruled it a robbery gone wrong, they really kept a close eye on Dennis, just because I know there's not a certain way to act, but he wasn't acting anything like you think someone should act. I don't know if that was English. So Dennis and his daughters are distraught. Dennis's daughters are definitely distraught, but Dennis says, I just need to get away. I need to go fishing. I need to go fishing. And Debbie offers to go with him. And he says, no, I just need to be on my own. I need to go fishing, which is, if it's your coping mechanism, it's your coping mechanism. But it's just bizarre. But the police thought this was odd. They said they just had off vibes from him. They just weren't, he just seemed like a real sketchy bloke. They weren't sure. So Dennis obviously wanted to go off grid, really secluded, really quiet, chill, tranquil vibes. Can you guess where he went? Because he didn't go fishing. Just think of the most chilled out, secluded, at one with nature places. I guarantee you didn't think of Vegas, because that's where Dennis went. He went to fucking Vegas. Like, there must be more cameras. There must be more cameras in Vegas than in most places. He was, of course, caught on CCTV with his girlfriend. So, apologies. It wasn't the fishing trip he went to Vegas, but it was 2 days after Joan's funeral. He went to Vegas with his girlfriend. He flew them both out first class. They were taking movies. They were making movies, not those kind of movies. They were like they had one of those video cameras. So they were making home movies. They were splurging on gazebos. That doesn't sound right. No, it is gazebos. Gazebos, waterbeds, hot tubs, and new cars. It's a weird mix, isn't it? Now, the woman in question that he's with is called Brandita Taliano, which is a fucking fabulous name, but I'm pretty sure she goes by Brandy. And she is a sex worker from California. Dennis has been spending a lot of time with Brandy, and Brandy has got a pretty sweet deal here because he's paying her rent, he's paying for her time and sex. I'm pretty sure he bought her a car. He transferred the deed of his vacation home and his 2 cars into her name as well. Like, he is smitten with Brandy. Like, you think at the point where he kind of thought it was like a full-blown relationship, he'd stop paying for sex, but he obviously didn't. So I dread to think how much money she is getting off this man per month. So, of course, the police see this and it's a ginormous red flag. It's not good to be having a secret affair when your wife's just died. It's just not good, is it? But nothing was done for quite a long time. However, in the winter of 1993, Brandy was arrested on a totally separate charge. I believe she was arrested on a drugs charge. But when they took her handbag, she had Joan's jewellery in the bottom of her handbag. Paul Tippin is the investigator on the case, and he tests and checks out this jewellery and realises it's 100% Joan's jewellery. So what he does, because he's a clever little sausage, he goes and asks for a warrant to check the DNA that was under Joan's fingertips, because they now have Brandy's DNA on file. So that gets sent away. It's the early 90s, so that's not quick at all. It takes about a year, but when it does come back, it comes back a match. So how long are we in now? 3 years since she was killed? At least 3 years since she was killed we're at the moment. So Paul starts doing some more digging, because you can't generally just get someone off DNA. You need a really strong case. So Paul initially starts looking into Brandy's life, and it seems that she's got a bit of a troubled one. She's in and out of prison quite a lot, and I think she's been in and out about 14 times for various different drug charges, as she was unfortunately a heroin addict at the time. So while she was in jail, Dennis was visiting her quite a lot. He was keeping her, mercenary? Is it a mercenary? Topped up? He was keeping her money topped up, and I believe he's actually sneaking drugs into prison for her as well. Of course, alarm bells. And luckily, whenever they spoke on the phone, everything's recorded, so he could just go back through and listen to all of their conversations. In one of the conversations, Dennis asked Brandy if she knows anyone who could carry out a big job for him, and this phone call was before the murder. Brandy introduces Dennis to a career criminal called Gary Warren. I'm going to put the spelling up because I actually don't know. Dennis invites him over to his house for a meeting about what he wants from him. What he says is genuinely quite horrifying. He says, "You can do whatever you want to my wife as long as she ends up dead. if you want, you can rape her. You can do anything as long as she's dead at the end of it. Like, that woman has been your wife for 32 years. How could you say that? How could you... End of sentence. How could you? That's horrendous. That was set up as a plan. However, before the plan was executed, Gary was arrested on a totally separate charge. Dennis is now starting to panic because he knows that his divorce is going to start kicking in soon, and he can't let that happen, because how else is he going to pay for Brandy? Because as soon as he stops paying her, she is not going to spend any time with him. And I think subconsciously he knows that. But Brandy gets out of jail and Dennis says to her, we can do it together. On the night of April 16th, 1991, Joan has gone off to sleep and Dennis goes downstairs to let Brandy in through the back door. They both sneak into the bedroom and Dennis has a golf club and he starts hitting Joan while she's asleep in the bed, which obviously wakes her up and she starts fighting back, which is where Brandy comes into the picture. She gets onto the bed and she holds Joan down whilst Dennis is beating her and until she is dead. And then the pair of them go around and trash the house to make it look like the most authentic robbery gone wrong possible. And I think they do a pretty good job of that. So obviously after they'd done that, they seem to have got away with it. After Joan's funeral, they went straight off to Vegas, first class, the pair of them, taking home movie footage of each other, spending all of Joan's money, living this lavish life together. However, Tippin had got now a really strong case together. So the couple were both arrested in 1995 on charges of conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder. The trial started in 1997 and lasted 3 months. At this time, Dennis was now 59 years old and Brandy was 39. Gary, the career criminal who I mentioned earlier, actually testified at the trial and told them what Dennis said, which must have been so fucking hard to hear and so incredibly shocking for his daughters to hear exactly what he had said about their mum. It's just the most disgusting thing ever. He also said that the couple had showed him like a floor plan. They'd showed him all around the house how to get in, how to get out, and they'd also given him a down payment of $9,000. Brandy and Dennis were both found guilty of first-degree murder, and they were both sentenced to life in prison, and Dennis was sentenced without the possibility of parole. December 3rd, 2003, Dennis died at the age of 75, and I believe in 2018, Brandy was released from prison, and I have no idea where she is or what she's doing now because she keeps very much out of the public eye. And that is today's case. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a relatively quick one, but I decided to start filming really late. But I have actually really enjoyed it, so thank you very much. Oh God, I need a positive thought. My positive thought at the moment, this is really weird and random, but I did have this massive lump on the back of my ear, which I've had since I was maybe 15. I had surgery to remove that a couple of weeks ago, and it's all healed. I'm going to get my steroid injection on Tuesday, actually. It's just, I can't tell you how weird it is to not have this lump on my ear. I was so insecure about it. I haven't had a haircut in about 7 years. So I've booked in for a haircut because my hair's just flat and horrible and I hate it. It needs some life in it. So that's my positive thought of the day. There's so many things I can do that I didn't realise I couldn't do because I was so embarrassed about my ear and I couldn't stand the thought of anyone seeing it. So that's my very niche positive thought of the day. But I will be back next week. I think next week I'm going to do the murder of Linda Bailey Brown and the case of Cinnamon Brown because I, without sounding weird, really love that case. I think it's very, very, very interesting. So I'll be covering that for you next week. Until then, make good choices. Sex workers don't love you. They don't love you. As soon as you stop paying them, they're gonna go. They're not in it for the relationship that you think you have, because I promise you don't have it. We need to stop with this delusional behaviour because it's concerning. And that was years ago. That's older than me. It's very worrying. But yeah, I've lost my train of thought totally. Don't get murdered. I'll see you next week. Love you, bye. Slowing bags in exchange for body bags, yeah. You're a cry, baby. You can't get back the last stick that I dropped. Thick that nightmare. I'm a boogie bitch. Who dat? Honestly, Vinted is just the longest thing in the world. You put it up for like £4 and someone's offering you £2.10. It's £4 to start with. Fuck me. Once, this is what? Who the fuck do you think you are? Shut up. If it does, I'm walking into oncoming traffic. That is a real fear. Like, that is a real fear. I think it's a valid fear. That's me. I'll just have a nap. I got in the mood to talk to people at about 8:30. It's 20 to 10. Which, if you know me, I'm normally asleep by 10:30. So we've got to get a fucking move on. I need to burp. I could do some food too. Now I need a mirror. This is all over the place. Okay, this doesn't flow at all. We finishes colleges. They decide to fuck. Oh my god, I can't stop burping. I think I broke this desk. What a dead response. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? I need to make my dating video to send to the girls. Shit, I'll do that after this. Dennis has been playing a lot. Why can't I speak? My legs are going dead. No, it's not.